Good morning, everyone. Dobrogo ranku. But I will be speaking about the Russian and Serbian malign foreign influence operations that have been very present in Montenegro since 2019. It came to a climax after years and even decades of soft power, exercising soft and sharp power in our country. The difference between the previous attempts and this one, the latest one, is that it succeeded in its goals. So I would talk about, firstly, I will talk about the enabling environment that Montenegro is for these malign influence operations to succeed. First, above all, Montenegro is a country that is in transition for 3 decades already, and we are having the same diseases or the same problems that many of the countries in the transition process had, but we were stuck in a perpetuum of state capture, corruption, in this environment that was especially vulnerable during the so-called drivers for the malign influence, such as perpetual political crisis, constant elections. Almost every year we have elections in Montenegro. So this was the fertile ground for these operations to succeed in Montenegro. Montenegro is in a very similar situation with Ukraine. So we've been a part of a greater country, or historically, or a greater territorial organization, such as Yugoslavia. And our identity, our culture, our specific distinct identity has been denied from Serbia, just like it is the case with Ukraine. It is denied, and it has been denied by Russia in the past. So the goals of this malign influence in Montenegro have been very similar to what are the goals in Ukraine. So the final, and I think the ultimate goal of these action is to erase Montenegro distinct statehood, distinct identity, and to try to abolish the independence of this country in order to incorporate it in a greater state union, or even to be annexed by Serbia in the future. Montenegro's population is, majority of our population is Orthodox. So just like in Ukraine, the main tool of these actions have been a Serbian Orthodox Church. difference from Ukraine, the difference from Ukraine in recent history has been that Montenegrin Orthodox Church was autocephalous until 1918, which was not the case with the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. If you're not including the Ruthenian Orthodox Church further, even before in history. So when it comes to tools, and when it comes to the latest climax of these influence campaigns, it all started in 2019 after government tried to in a clumsy manner try to incorporate Serbian Orthodox Church, to put it inside the institutional framework, inside the system in Montenegro, with the law on freedom of religion. When the government tried in a clumsy manner to correct the historical mistake of 1918 and 1921, when Montenegrin independence was abolished and Montenegrin Orthodox Church was put under the control from Belgrade, when its independence and autocephaly were abolished. As a reaction, a huge campaign orchestrated from Belgrade took place, and it kind of mobilized a global Serbian population, disinformation campaign about the nature of the conflict within the Orthodox majority in Montenegro. It was misinterpreted. So many people from the West, from the conservative, coming from the conservative political background and ideology, fall into a trap of these narratives that were falsely accusing Montenegrin governments of persecuting Christians, trying to align them with trying to present them as a communist government that's trying to persecute Christians and believers. Whether the matter of fact, was the situation was completely different, very similar to what's happening in Ukraine. Unfortunately, Montenegrin population is so small, so we're not important on a global level in terms of orthodoxy. So Orthodox Church, the Patriarchate of Constantinople was not so interested in granting Montenegro to Cephaly in order not to lose Serbian Orthodox Church, which is quite more populous. Whether in terms of Ukraine, you have a population of almost 40 million people, so it was in their interest to try to confront the Russian influence within the global Orthodoxy. Whether in Montenegrin case you have a global population of 300 people that are identifying themselves as Montenegrins, and on the other side you have a global population of Serbian population of 10 million people. So you see the difference. So this in 2020, coming back to the protest campaign, the Serbian Orthodox Church started a long, almost 8 or 9 months long protest campaign that corresponded and happened parallelly with the political campaign, because we had parliamentary elections in 2020. So Serbian Orthodox Church actually became a rallying point for the opposition in Montenegro to try to battle the ruling DPS, and they succeeded with the help from the Russian Orthodox Church. You had the Metropolitan Onufri from the Moscow Patriarchate, so-called Ukrainian Orthodox Church in Kiev. He was coming to Montenegro during this protest campaign, and he was participating in the protest mass processions. So what they did, they succeeded in their goals. So they've installed what they believed will be a friendly regime in Montenegro, and Serbian Orthodox Church handpicked the prime minister and several ministers, which were all coming from an organization called Ne damo Crnu Goru, which was an NGO that was established during the mass processions as a support for the Serbian Orthodox Church. So some of the ministers and prime ministers were from this organization that's closely connected to the Serbian Orthodox Church. Nevertheless, from the pressure from our Western partners, and we were lucky that we have been members of NATO, didn't allow the new government to put people with questionable CV on positions of power within the security system. But what they did, they've installed people in our educational system. So the rector, the president of the only Montenegrin State University, they were taken over by the people who are close to the Serbian Orthodox Church. So on a long-term strategy is to try to influence the public opinion in Montenegro through educational system. And as I said, the ultimate goal may be not in a couple of years, not in a few years, but in a decade, could be questioning of the Montenegrin independence, because that's been the narrative. So since they took power in 2020, in the last couple of years, some researchers are showing that the social fabric has dramatically changed in the last couple of years. The society has been radicalized when it comes to religion, especially within Orthodox Christian religion. there were some of the organizations that were established that are promoting these radical views of Orthodoxy and Orthodox Christianity. And you can see how people in these, and I will share it. I'm inviting the organizers to share my contact address, so I will share this research's European Social Survey and the people who were conducting it, a company from Montenegro. And they've done a research in late 2020, late 2018, late 2020, and they're doing it one right now. So you can see the trends of how social fabric, how ideology is shifting in Montenegro towards a more conservative, more pro-Serbian and pro-Russian attitudes within society. Because we don't have a lot more time to speak about, I'm inviting you to please to try to emphasize in your discussions these similarities between the societies in Western Balkans and Ukraine, because we have a common problem here. We have a common source of these malign influences that is coming from Russia, and Serbia is nothing but sharing the same goals in the Western Balkans, unfortunately, the current Serbian government, and they're acting like a small Russia in this region. So without further ado, I will finish here, and I wish you a successful working day. Have a nice day.